Alright, how's it going today, guys? I had a special request for this video, so I will do the best I can to explain this stuff. Uh, Somebody wanted to know how I make power, how I power things, and how much power they make. So you can see each one of my boilers here are set up independently. I tried in the past to work them together and ran into problems with that. There's possibly something coming from Greg that's going to help to limit pipes on the engines so we can run, one big huge steam pipe to all our machines, but not quite sure yet exactly what it's going to be or when it's going to be coming, but hopefully, or even exactly what it's going to be. But anyways, you can see most of my boilers here are steel, except for this one bronze one. The one bronze one is for the shredder, because it goes to a turbine rather than an engine. So you'll see here that I have the steel burning box, which puts out 32 heat units a tick, and that is for the steel boiler, which needs, if you get on the right one, 32 heat units in, and it puts out 64 steam a tick. And then if you look at the engine, and I can't spell as usual, the engine takes approximately 64 steam a tick and puts out 16 kU a tick. And if you look at a compressor and a crusher, press, squeezer, sifter, all of the recipes, base recipes, take exactly 16 EU a tick, or GU a tick, KU a tick actually. Let's see, crusher. You'll see that it takes energy in 32 KU a tick up to 64 KU a tick. But if we look at, say, copper, to make crushed copper, 16 GU a tick. And because it's in a crusher, that means it's going to be KU. So that's why I have it set up this way. Now, I'll warn you, this is not the most efficient way to do it. This is probably not even close to the best way to do it. But I do everything that I do here in the not most efficient way of doing it, because I want people to not copy exactly what I do and actually, try to build bigger and better things than I do. There is better ways of powering a crusher, but this is the simplest way of doing it at the lowest amount of power whatsoever. And remember that the recipes go on a overclocker type of thing, like the IC2 overclocker, 4 times power, 2 times speed. And if you go up a tier, that means that you also are overclocking said recipe, so therefore that 4 to 2 ratio will kick in for each tier. I ran into that problem a few times early on when I was trying to run things through a electrolyzer that were like 64 EU a tick. I was trying to give them just 128, and I actually had to be giving them 256 or put them back into the low voltage and feed it 64, which we'll get to that in a minute. So keep that in mind when you're tiering up your recipes and your engines and boilers and things like that. That overclocking thing does still hold true. All right. Next easiest thing is the bath. It takes no power. It is time based. You do not need to power that in any way for anything. All the baths that I have, I got one over there, one back there, and this one, they just sit there. That's the same with the coagulators here. They're time based. There is no recipe for how much GU a ticket takes because there is no GU for them. Now, currently for my sluice, I have it powered through a biogenerator from forestry running off of my ethanol system, and back here is just a battery box and a engine. That boiler's off, so no, pipe's the same size, can't pop up there. Alright, let's stop being lazy and just put down a block. Anyways, there's a battery box right here with one battery in it, a motor going into the sluice. Now, if you watch my Bear's Den GT6 stream, you'll see that I actually hooked it up with a bronze turbine like this one there, and it works, just fine. I'm trying to get away from some of the biogenerators. They were here when there wasn't a turbine, but I'm, still in the process of doing that or converting over to straight EU to motor from everything that I built in that other video. Anyways, let's look at the turbine now here so you can see why I chose the bronze setup here. This is a bronze steam turbine which needs 48 steam in to put out 16 RU out. Again, all the base recipes are 16. So to wash something in the sluice or to shred something in the shredder, it's 16 GU a tick, which is the RU. So with this here needing 48 steam a tick, you look at the bronze boiler. Oh, why do I ever try to type in bronze? Bronze boiler will put out 48 steam, take in 24. And the bronze boiler is one of the so the bronze boiler is exactly what you need for that 16. And then quit hitting the wrong buttons here. The burning box for bronze is 24 heat units, which is exactly what the boiler needs. Now with your burning boxes, they have efficiencies that are different. If you go with Invar, it's 100%. Bronze is 75, but better output. Steel is only 70, but even better output than the bronze. And then you've got, chromium and titanium, which are better than the steel and better on their efficiency. So, you're going to get better burn for your charcoal or coal or whatever you're using, the better the efficiency is. That's why when I'm doing my crucible early on, I start with lead because it has the worst efficiency, so I'll get the most dark ash out of it. Same with bismuth, but it's a little harder to find, so I usually start with lead. But that's my steam stuff. My fermenters has just got steel because That's what they pretty much need. If you look at the recipe, it needs 16 GU a tick, which is heat units in this case. And so that's why I use steel. This one, same thing. It's a Invar distillery, so I gave it a tungsten burning box. Let's see. This here is how I'm running my centrifuge. I have 2 bronze boilers, and the reason why I went with 2 is because I can run 1 if I want for a regular centrifuging recipe, like this one, which any of the cleaning of purified things is the 16 GU. So I can run this with just 1 boiler for that 16. Now there are 32s like this one to separate things, which actually the one I'm doing it for is Cinnabar. Good old Cinnabon. And let's see. Oh, that's the impure. There we go. You'll see that centrifuging it is 32 a tick. So that's why I have 2, so I get the 32. Now you'll see that I have a extender there. That's basically a one-way valve. Nothing can go backwards out of it. It has to come out this pipe. So 1 in the back, 1 in the front. They go together and put out the full steam into that one pipe, and that wraps around down through the floor to the bottom side of this steam turbine that runs the centrifuge. And then that goes into this bath to wash my leads and galenas and things like that. Now over here we have my 2 EU powered machines. Well, technically 1 EU and 1 MU, but they both need electricity because that's the way it works. You just have to convert this one to magnetic power. And they're ran off of biogenerators as well right now. 2 biogenerators per. That way they get plenty of power. This one has 2 batteries. That way I can run 64 EU a tick recipes in this one without a problem. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. I do believe it's 64. I typically use this one just for cleaning my ores, because there are 2 different ways. Yeah, I was right. 64. I thought I was right, but I wanted to make sure. But I typically use this just for cleaning my ores, but there is a recipe for which one is it? It's the thing that makes nickel, and for some reason I'm running a blank at the moment, so I'll just look it up. I don't know why my brain is deciding to go out on me. There it is, garnierite. Damn it. That's only a 32 GU a tick, so I can run that in here and get my oxygen. This is how I get my oxygen early on, is with garnierite dust in this electrolyzer. Then I can run my roaster, and that's what I'm going to be setting up on that Bear's Den private testing server thing next, I do believe. Alright, so up here we have battery box with 1 battery, 2 things to power it, going into the electromagnet, which powers the magnetic separator. Over here I have my smelters set up. This is for taking ingots and turning them into plates or rods or item casings or whatnots if I don't want to fire up the crucible upstairs if I'm just doing one or two things. Also, I use it for when I'm running this over here, and I get like 9 of these that are a regular or like iron or whatnot. I throw them in a divisible of 9 in there and just let them run. Keeps me from having to go up and fire up the crucible for, 9 or 18 or whatever. And sometimes if I'm just being lazy and don't really care about wasting charcoal, I'll throw, a stack of dust in here to get me a stack of plates or something. All just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Then 2 more smelters with a tank extender here to output to the mixer. These are powered by liquid fuel burning boxes, which I just bleed off some ethanol from the tank, put it in front here, and that's what powers them. And this is just powered with a turbine because it's a mixer, runs same 16 RU a tick, and it's got 1 boiler, bronze boiler, and burning box down there. These mixers are ran off of engines, which are ran off of this battery box, which I actually do not have hooked up yet. It's going to get hooked to probably this line, but I'm going to do the same thing with it that I did here probably, and I'll just run another MV line over there with a separate bat box or LV transformer for it. But on this side, I have all of these machines run off of this one MV line that I showed the other day. There's an HV line coming over, going into an MV transformer, then into LV, then into the large battery box, which has 4 batteries in it currently. I'm planning on taking it up to 8. Greg told me that I should be able to, that there's a switch I can put on them that you can tell it to only put out 8 amps and then be able to fill the battery box up completely. I want to play around with that and test it out a bit, but I haven't got around to it yet. But I only need 8 batteries in there because I don't need a lot of power stored there since I got the big mass storage on the other side of the wall there. But that powers all these mixers and this canning machine. And I'm actually in the process of getting this redone again. Just got to get it cleaned out of stuff. And then back here I have an electrolyzer under each one of these, depending on what they need. Most of them are MV except this one, which is HV. This is all run off of my main line coming out of my power source over here and then transformed down as it needed. This is where I do my mass power here. This is coming from the solar farm. This is coming from the wind farm. And whenever I need more power, I can just do that and it'll send it over. I can also, set the behavior and put a switch on it. I just haven't switched it lately. I haven't been using a lot of power. Let's see. This one I needed 64, a 64 recipe done. So I set up a chromium and titanium boiler. And I'll explain why here. The chromium needs 192 steam and to put out 96 heat units. Or daggone it. It needs 96 heat units to put out 192 steam. This one needs 112 to put out 224. Now, if you look at the burning boxes, they are exactly opposite. This one puts out 112, where this one puts out 96. So that's why this one is titanium chromium and this one is chromium titanium, because for some reason they're exactly opposite. But that gives me exactly what I need to do a 64 RU a tick recipe with an Invar turbine. Now, you can do also a steel turbine. It has the same exact 64 to 192 as this one does, but it's on the low side where this one is on the high side. So I just chose to go with the Invar for this one, which is actually mostly bronze with Invar rotors, rather than the steel, which is all steel. And you'll see it says 192.64, where this one, if you look at the high side, is 192.64. So this would be the medium that it can do, where this is the highest it can do. Doesn't really matter which one you do. They're both going to do the exact same thing to be able to do that recipe. This is how I was making power with my Railcraft turbine. I still have it with a little bit of durability left. I haven't chose to take it out yet, just in case I run to that point where my wind turbines and my solar can't handle it. So that's what's powering everything right now, is those main boxes. And I will explain the other side of the electricity in a minute. Let's go ahead and head up here, and I will show you the wind farm up here. And it is nighttime, so the solars won't be outputting. And with wind, if you're on a server like I am and people sleep constantly, your winds will get reset all the time, so the wind won't put out very well. That's why most people get kind of angry with me, and because I don't ever sleep. I let it be nighttime all the time, whenever it wants to be. That way I get rainstorms, thunderstorms, and I get a nice steady change from no wind to high winds. Even though I have a solar farm down there, I don't like to what I call cheat it by not sleeping all the time, or by sleeping all the time, I should say. So it's always daytime, so they're always outputting. But anyways, these are putting out 99.5 EU a tick times 3, so I'm getting just under 300 EU a tick, and that is a pretty slow wind, if I remember correctly. It's only 374. If I had a rain or thunderstorm, it would be better, but they vary a lot, so it's not something you can rely on to be constant. I pull the rotors out every now and then just to give them a break when I've got a lot of power built up. And then we have the solar farm that I actually showed off the other day. This puts out 512 at the panel total, and I get about 2,000 every half a second down at the box after it gets all the transforming and all the wire loss and things like that. I end up with approximately 350, I do believe. It's almost daytime, so I can actually go up and check in a minute and kind of show you what it's putting out on the wire side. Let's go ahead and let them kick in here, and I'll explain the other side of the power down here. And that is, I have my centrifuge for Pahoehoe lava. It's run off of a MV motor because it needs 64 RU per tick. So you got to feed it with 128, and you can't put 128 into a low voltage. You need medium voltage for that. And then it has its own MV battery box here. This is my MV electrolyzer, which is run off of a dual battery box here, which is just going through being transformed here. And then out of this MV runs this wire, which comes over and powers this CESU, which is powering a transformer that's behind it here, which is powering, or a transformer behind there, which is powering these battery boxes for all of these machines. Each one has a motor here, so the battery box is powering the thing. Again, 16 GU, RU, whatever you want to call it. These are lasers rather than motors, so because these two machines need laser power, so LU. And then same thing for over here. That wire's running over here to this transformer, which is going to this transformer and powering those. Then there's a MV coming off here to power this MV, because this needs MV power for my wire mill to give me, this is the carbon. Raw carbon mesh, so carbon dust times 4, 64 RU a tick gives you your raw carbon fiber. So that's what this one's for. Then down here I have the roll former for making the steel shafts. So I have a HV with one battery ran off an MFE into a HV motor and then into the roll former. My electromagnet, so it's got two magnets, only the top one needs to be hooked up. So it's got one battery box up here, which is feeding the top magnet. The magnets have to be opposite. So you'll have, north on, north on the top of this one, south on the bottom of this one. So you got both poles going to it. Over here, I'm using an MFE to HV electric engine for my compressor to make my energy crystals. And I'll explain this one here. If you look at energy crystals here, compressors are the same thing as everything else. 256 GU a tick, that's going to be KU. So then you need HV with a 512 input to put out to 256 because it gets split in half. I only chose to go with electric instead of steam because I had the power, you know. You can do steam for it as well. And that's basically what you got here. Everything that's on this wall is old machines from the old place that I haven't hooked up yet. I don't need, or waiting for somebody to ask that needs them, and then I usually, you know, give them out if they've at least already made one of them. I guess I did forget a couple things here. Extruder. This is an Invar one, so it can do basically anything. And it needs a tungsten burning box to run it. If you look at, let's look at iron here because it's easy. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, where's the extruder? There we go, extruder. So you'll see it needs 96 GU, which is HU in this case, to do anything in any of the different molds here. So if you look at burning boxes, tungsten right there. Oh, that's the wrong one. Tungsten, 128 HU a tick is what it puts out. So this is actually a little bit better than the 96 that it actually needs. I could have done titanium, but I chose to do tungsten. You can use a steel extruder, but that will only do like rubber. And I just throw it in there now. And then this is my silicon buell setup here. I use a dense Invar burning box on this smelter. This is for doing monazite to helium, and it needs the dense burning box to do so. If you look at the dense, it puts out 64 HU per tick, and that's what you need to get the helium out of the monazite. And then I also can throw my silicon in there as well. You can do the same thing and use a dense one on this crystallization crucible to speed it up as well, but I just use a steel one. I've got a return system and charcoal feeding system set up back here for it, so it feeds the charcoal in, and then down here it's got a hopper to take the ash out. Most of my machines have that that take charcoal. On the other side over there, I've actually set up a network of pipes that will feed all of everything in this area right here. The center island and these back here are set up to dump right into this barrel right here, which I need to get updated to a mass storage soon. Just haven't done so yet. If we dig a little bit of this out, you'll see there's hoppers underneath each one of the burning boxes and pipes running around here that lead all of that ash right here to this dust funnel, which makes it into a dust and then puts it right up in that barrel for me. and then I can deal with the dust however I feel like at the time. As of right now, it's all just getting shoved into barrels and placed against the wall there. So I got buttloads of ash over there on the side. All these barrels are ash right here, which will eventually get turned into carbon when I need them, or used for making propolis in peat into bituminous peat. And then this is my feeding system. I have this mass storage going into this pipe that goes to the back of each one of the burning boxes to feed it, to keep it going. Same with the 2 fermenters and the 3 distilleries. They're all hooked up on that same feeding system. Well, this one's not. This one is. And that way I don't have to feed them. I can just turn them off when they're done. These I haven't got set up yet. I need to. I just haven't, because I haven't quite decided on a final layout of everything yet. And then this is my galvanizer station. This is my circuit bath station. This is just for doing soldering alloy to put into the bath. This one is for zinc to put into this bath, just to smelt them down and put them in individually. And then again, bathing it doesn't cost any power. And then my oven, which is, pretty basic setup as well. So hopefully that explains how I make power and why I make it the way I do. Things have changed a lot over the last 6 months or so in the way that power is made, and I've kind of gradually changed from the old ways to the new ways. But in my Bear's Den one, like I said, that one's going to be all the newest ways of making power. So hopefully that'll give people a little bit better explanation on how I make power there. Now I do have Stirling generator here and a liquid heat exchanger that I did have hooked up for a while, and I probably will hook up again at some point. That is for taking lava and turning it into Pehoho lava. Let's go ahead and take this outside, which I wonder if something went wrong. My wire doesn't seem like I'm getting power at the moment. Let's see if it's still daytime. It's just me and Yoshi on right now. So let's take a look. Yeah, it's nighttime. Let's go ahead and sleep this time. Allergies are kicking my butt this week, so sorry about the yawning and stuff. Let's take a look back here. Sorry about the little bit of lag. I got so many things going on here that give me a little bit of FPS lag when I'm around the base, especially when I'm moving around a lot. And when I'm recording, because it runs off the CPU as well. Alright, so... Whoa! Well, that would be why I'm not getting any power. What the hell happened out here? Huh. Quite confused. It's like just some random wires are missing. And wait a minute. What the hell happened here? It's like the transformers are in the wrong place. What the hell's going on? Because that should have been there. I have no idea what's going on here. Why I'm missing transformers. Why transformers are in the wrong place. What the hell? Well, I guess I can't really show you anything about them since something's gone weird. I don't know what it is. If somebody came over and messed with it, I'm gonna be pissed. I guess I'll just end this video with what the fuck. And see if I can figure out what's going on and see if I can figure it out. And I'll let you know when I do. So, have a good one.